Well, welcome once again. This is the Doctor of Digital from the Doctor of Digital podcast. The purpose of the show is to transform your business and life with education and inspiration. I introduce busy business leaders to trends in business, technology, and marketing to highlight people you should know. Do you know the amount of sheer time people spend on social media management platforms? With the average American user clocking in at 2.7 hours daily, it's a massive opportunity for brands to connect directly with their audience. Effectively navigating this space requires not just crafting engaging content, but understanding the unique voice and trends of each platform to truly resonate with potential customers. The most interesting fact about SEO and keyword driven content might be its ongoing game of cat and mouse with search engines. While in the past, simply stuffing content with keywords could guarantee high ranking, search engines, though, have gotten much more sophisticated. Today, the focus has shifted to creating high quality content that genuinely answers user queries. This means SEO has become less about manipulating search engines and more about understanding user intent, making it a fascinating dance between providing value and achieving online visibility. During this episode, we'll do a deep dive into the changes and hot topics in social media management platforms and SEO to improve your success online with your content, branding, and marketing to leverage the expertise of my guest and how to navigate the unique dynamics of the field. By the end of this episode, you'll be better equipped to know what to do, and I encourage you to contact my guest, Wendy Pace, who is a social media management and SEO expert. And with that, I want to welcome Wendy to the program. Hi, Wendy. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. You know, one of these things that people are always interested in knowing about is how did you get into this field in the first place? So what's your story and how did you get in this field?
It was kind of accidental, actually. I was in corporate marketing, and we're talking 10 plus years ago. And I was traveling the world, doing the marketing thing. And my kid left for college, and my youngest needed mom to be home. So I
Okay.
had to pivot and figure out how to work from home. And another friend of mine who was a marketing director said, "Oh, I want to outsource my social media." And I was like, "Nobody does that. Give that to an intern, some 20-something-year-old. Let them put it up on the
Sure. Yeah.
interwebs for you." And she was like, "No, no, no, seriously, I want to upgrade my social media." And I figured, well, if there's one company looking for this, there's 5 companies looking for this. I just had my light bulb moment, and I started pace setting media.
Now, you've been in the field for a while, as you suggest. There's things have gone by a little bit. So I'm curious if you can weigh in on what are some of the changes that you've seen in the digital marketing space now?
There's a lot, and every day I wake up to more and more changes. But first and foremost is the intelligence of the algorithms,
Okay.
right? It used to be that if you were there, you got seen, right? Um, they didn't cultivate what was on your feed. You saw everything pretty much in the
Mhm.
beginning. So
Okay.
if you just had an interest, you could find stuff easily. Now the channels are so narrow based on people's search and conversations
Mm,
that a lot of things get left off. So in some regards it's good because, right, we're laser focused now, and we're only being put in front of, I'll put that in quotes, we're only being put in front of those who are really interested in us.
right.
But what I think they haven't really understood, or the algorithms haven't really fine-tuned so much, is just a passing glance does not mean that's your potential client.
Mm,
So looking more at behaviors has really helped marketing, and especially online marketing, get more tailored down to what people are actually interested in.
okay.
But what it also does is it doesn't let you stumble upon anything new that you didn't realize you needed until you saw the ad.
So it's almost excluding you as
Yes.
well, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. So it
Okay.
keeps you out of those channels that you may want to be swimming in and haven't been able to get the first stroke because the algorithm goes, nope, they're not interested in that.
Understood. Now, you use that word, and I know this is thrown all around a lot, but people don't quite understand an algorithm. So maybe you could just define what an algorithm is and how it works in searches.
So algorithms are, in a nutshell, to put it in the simplest terms, it looks at your behavior online. It tries to understand and predict what you want to see and read and get information on. It goes and it takes in a plethora of information. People are like, oh, my privacy, my privacy. I'm like, yeah, you gave that up when you signed up on Facebook. Sorry. That was free. So is your information going to be used going forward? There's always a payoff. So the algorithms try to figure out what it is we're interested in. And it is a bunch of zeros and ones that are basically coming together and going, here's their pattern, and this is their pattern of behavior, and this is what they read, and this is their interest. But it also takes into consideration where you live, how old you are, how many kids you have. All of those things is what big data is all about. And it tries to predict for Google and for Meta where you're spending your money, ultimately, at the end of the day. So SEO was one of those first predictors. It was, this is a keyword. These are the words that people are searching for.
Right.
And so that was how you utilized SEO in the old days to get in front of the people or the audiences that you were trying to reach.
Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of discussion about some hot topics, so I'd be curious on your insight into this. Now, one of them that people are talking about how this is going to impact marketing, of course, is AI and what's going on. So maybe you could address that or any other topics that you think are really current and hot topics today.
So AI is supposed to be intelligent, right? I say that AI right now, it's in its infancy. It's taking steps. It's moving. It's starting to crawl. It's really starting to get
Yeah.
some speed. But
Okay.
overall, it is a more intensive search engine. So it's taking all the information there and it's culling out more of what you don't want than necessarily getting smarter, which is what it's implied by intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
That's not to say it's not improving upon. Of course it is. But right now it's a glorified search engine that knows how to cull and bring in more specific information that you're looking for than giving, like Google. I don't know if you ever saw that meme. It says Google can give you a million answers, but a librarian can give you the right one. So it's more like a librarian. It's getting closer to giving you the right answer first off the bat instead of going, here's a million responses. Go through this and see if you can find what you were looking for.
Yeah, and that's, is there some tool or several tools that you would recommend? Because this has been my experience. I mean, I hardly use search engines because I've been using a number of AI tools. Are there some that are better for digital marketing, some that are just generally good, or are there things that you would recommend when it comes down to AI?
I use a number of different ones because I want my writing to be in a certain voice, and I want my information to be more clarified and less, there's a lot of risk of fake information out there. So you want to have an AI that is more sensitive to where the information is coming from.
Okay.
So I like Chat GPT, of course, for the highest level that you can get it. And for writing and understanding sales mechanisms, I use Gravity Writes.
Okay. Are there things that you would recommend? Now you have some topics to address, and a lot of business owners and busy business people say this is a little overwhelming. So,
It
what
is.
kinds of things would you recommend, and what should businesses and business leaders be aware of currently?
Don't put it on autopilot. You still have to look at what's being written and what's being said. You still need to go through the information that it's bringing you and determine. Now, it's bringing you far less because it's much more specific in what it brings you. But you still have to read through that and make sure that the information that you are putting out as your business is accurate and correct. So the human part of that has not gone away. You're still responsible for what gets put out.
And there's been talk and discussion that it's going to replace digital marketers or replace people. So what are your feelings about that, and how do people adjust to this newfound world of AI?
I think yes, eventually it will replace marketing people. But at the end of the day, you still have to give it the instruction of what to do. I don't think this generation right now needs to go on the unemployment line. I think that the marketers are using it as a tool to make it easier, faster for you to get content created and out there that's relevant, as opposed to it taking our jobs.
Yeah. So you still need the human element, I guess, right? So human beings are not quite obsolete yet.
Not yet. You can't go into your little pod with your RVs and just play games while your avatar is out there, navigating the world.
And I've noticed that the AI tools they've changed because they change so rapidly, but they also have a caveat also, and it tells you that, and you basically make sure that you're looking at
Mhm.
the material for its accuracy, because a lot of them will say, or several of them even say, we hallucinate. So they just make up data.
Yeah, they do. Or they'll take data, because what you have to understand is the stuff that we're putting in there, it's taking from all of that. And it's not going, oh, this came from this library here, or this came from this think tank here. This is more accurate. It's going, it's like the Oscar's garbage can. It's taking all of this information in, and it's not yet at that rate of perfection where it can go, okay, that was that bit of information that was dropped in here. That's not good. We need to get rid of that because of this, and this. It's not thinking yet.
And
It's
that's what I
just
said.
taking.
It's not really intelligent, which is a point that
Right.
you made. It's not really that point yet, and that's where I've
Mhm.
seen when I get the information, because this is what happens when you have it's the lowest common denominator. It's taking all this stuff in, and if I push back on AI, then it'll also pretend it's like a human being, like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. You made a valid point there. So let me revise my
Yeah.
answer." I go, "Yeah." So there is a little bit more interaction, which seems more human, but it's not really learning. It's only like kind of responding to what you say and your input.
Right. And your prompts are important. I mean, you have to tell it a lot of times to, okay, disregard, these certain websites because they may be known for disseminating false information, especially if you're writing politically or you're writing medically. It's really crucial and important that you're looking at the information that it's taking. And then you also have to ask it, cite your sources. Like, I want to know, where'd you get this information from? And it will, like you said, blush and be like, oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I kind of pulled that out of my hard drive. Because that's what it's doing.
Yeah, there are some times where it's saying it's seemingly apologetic because I push back, and you're right. I've also seen the same thing. There are certain political or controversial areas where the AI will simply say, I can't answer that, or I don't want to deal with that question, or I can't. And then they say, go look at some other type of search engine to get an
Right.
answer.
Yeah. You have to be careful.
So when you work with a business owner or a CEO or someone who's interested in your services, like what kind of expertise do you have, and what kinds of things do you offer? What's the process like to do that?
Working with PACE is really, really simple. We try to make it as easy as possible. We always said, we're making you the answer to the question that somebody's searching on that's relevant for your industry. So our whole thing is about creating content and curating content that is answering the pertinent question of the day. What are people searching on? For instance, I have a client that has this metal A-frame that moves HVAC
Okay.
systems.
Hmm.
Very, very niche kind of
Right.
environment that he is in. So anything and everything that I put out, I have to think about that client's client. I'm thinking about that commercial roofer that needs to move the HVAC system. I'm thinking about the large what do they call them? They're big tubes. I don't know, but for insulation or for air ducts, large air ducts and such in these great big distribution centers. So I'm looking for project managers. I have to get very specific
Mm.
in the audience that I'm putting information together for, and I have to think about what is this particular person, what's their problem on any particular day, and how am I going to make him the answer to that question.
Are there industries that you're more comfortable with or tend to have more experience in, or is this across the board?
It's across the board, and that's what makes it fun because so I'm married to a librarian. So
Mm.
research and finding the answers to questions has always been part of
Sure.
something that I've done.
Yeah.
So whether it's an HVAC system or a lawyer that deals with restaurants or a gastrointestinal company, a business or a pain clinic or even a country music star, I run the gamut on all of
Mm.
it. And I always find it to be a learning experience to figure out how do I get to that audience and who that audience is, because that's the key and that's the human element in it. Yes, you can ask ChatGPT to give you a marketing strategy for whatever the business is. But at the end of the day, you have to figure out who's really at the core of that audience. And so everybody and anybody that needs social media services is my client.
So it's a real easy transfer of skills, really, because as per your background, you
Mhm.
like those things. So you're really getting to do more of what you've done before and what you're good at to assist a company.
Right. I take the skill set of being a marketer, right, and figuring out how do I make this widget important to the person who needs it at their factory. Whatever it is they're making, I have to figure out how do I make that the answer to the question somebody's searching on.
Which is very much like a researcher or librarian type. So you come looking for answers and you're the person
Yes.
with the answer. So, so we talked about some of the changes and hot topics and the kinds of expertise that you offer and what you do for people. Could you give us an idea of how, if someone wanted to reach out and work with you, how do they get a hold of you? What would you recommend?
Emailing me directly is always the best
Okay.
way. Wendy at pacesettingmedia.com. The other thing they should understand is everybody on my team is advanced degree people.
Oh,
They're school teach. I have a team of 4, and I have a computer scientist. I have a school teacher. I have a social worker. I have a lot of people that have gotten advanced degrees and know how to do the research, and we know how to find the information that's pertinent to what they're looking for.
so you got a team of experts ready to go for
I
anything you
do.
ask. That's good. And it's also that transferable skill that I was
Right.
saying that if a person comes in with these background, because I always help you, I'm a recovering academic, so I understand those kinds of things in the first place. And it really lends itself to this type of endeavor.
It does. It really does. And it allows us to be more inquisitive in asking the question and trying to find different angles that we can market from.
Yes, it's that interest in general knowledge. So it's that thing that kind of gets the brain stimulated. Oh, I want to think about that a little bit.
Right. Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Wendy. I really appreciate your insight and your expertise. I think it adds a lot because a lot of people are asking these questions, particularly business owners. I think it's really valuable to let them know what your expertise is and your knowledge. So I appreciate you sharing your wisdom today. Thank you for being my guest today.
Well, thanks for having me on. This was fun.
I hope so. It was fun for me as well, too. Take care. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right. So if you like guests like Wendy Pace and others, make sure that you are liking, subscribing, and positively reviewing the podcast. We want to have more guests like Wendy and also want to thank the sponsors, both for Burning America and the publisher of On Track, Ian Hunter. So until next time, stay tuned. We've got some more exciting guests coming your way. Until next time, this is the Doctor of Digital signing off. Deus Volt.